We have here a 2023 Scott Addict RC10 in a size medium, weighing at 17 pounds, 7 ounces, and in kilos, 7.90 kilos. Stay tuned after video. We have a free buy some test on those synchronous carbon wheels right there. Bye. Hey everybody, GC Performance here, back with another video, and today I have for you guys this stunning Scott Addict RC10. This here is a size medium. It weighed right at around 17 pounds, 7 ounces, and this bike retails for $7,600. Scott did such an amazing job with his paint job just right off the bat. It looks absolutely gorgeous. But not only that, their price points are almost close to pre-pandemic with this bike. So in today's video, let me go over everything that Scott did right with this bike, talk about the spec and components on here, and definitely I think this is a bike you should consider if you are around this price point of a range. So hopefully you guys enjoy. So a little bit about the RC line by Scott. The RC stands for race. This is their more aggressive of the bike that they sell to their consumers. They also do make an Addict, which is not their RC. The normal Addict by itself is just going to be a more endurance model, whereas this is going to be a little bit more aggressive and aimed towards the racer or the more enthusiast rider who wants to maybe enter the crits or the weekend races. This bike right here is the Model 10. The lower the number, the higher the model. So this is one underneath their Pro model, and then they have the Ultimate model, which is that as well. Their carbon fiber lineup through Scott is all the same except for their Ultimate series. So no matter if you're buying the Addict RC30, the 20, the 10, the Pro, they're all the exact same carbon fiber on here. The only carbon fiber that you'll actually see an upgrade on is the Ultimate, like I said, but you're paying a premium price tag of $16,000. That's nearly double the price tag of this bike. And I don't see the need for that when you have such a beautiful bike here. And literally it's just gonna be weight in terms of grams that's on that bike itself. The bike itself here with the carbon fiber, for everything that you get on this bike, the mold is exactly the same. The shape of the bike, the actual design of the bike, the wind tunnel testing of the bike is exactly the same. The only difference here is just going to be the carbon material, maybe a couple of grams, like 40, 50 grams, whatever it is, difference of the carbon material. Even if you got the Ultimate, it's still going to be the exact same geometry, so you're not losing anything there. I mean, the technology in this bike is very, very nice, and you do get a swell looking bike also. But yeah, so with this bike, you do get the integrated cables through the bar and stem. This bike does include a carbon fiber bar. The stem is just going to be their alloy stem. They do sell an upgraded kit as well if you wanted to, a one-piece carbon fiber bar and stem that you've probably seen by Scott Synchros, that you can get it that makes it a little bit lighter and look a little bit more clean. But as of right now, if you do ever need to change out stem length to accommodate a different fit, it's very easy to do so. You do not need to rewire or re-bleed the whole brake system. This top just pops off here. You take off the stem, you put on a different stem. It's very simple. A lot of these companies are getting this done right, and Synchros for Scott has been doing it for a long time. If you do need to lower your stem as well for geometry, it's very easy as well. You don't need to cut or re-bleed the system either. These spacers just break away right here. You go ahead and lower the stem. You go ahead and put a spacer on top of here, and now you can try out the fit before you cut anything or make any kind of hasty decision. For example, like a Pinarello or a Madone. All those cables are still ran internally on there, so that is a nice plus. But again, like I mentioned, this bike being $7,600 for a mid-tier group set with a power meter. You do get carbon fiber wheels on here, you get a carbon fiber bar on here, you get a very nice geometry by Scott as well, and you get the backing of a warranty with Scott as well. That is an extremely very, very nice price point for $7,600. I know people have become really stingy with the price point as well, but these prices were pretty much pre-pandemic prices, and like I said, if you're looking around that $6,000 to $8,000 price point for a bike, this one should be definitely considered. But now I'll go through the whole bike, tell you guys everything the bike came with, and hopefully you guys enjoy. So, handlebar is going to be a Synchros handlebar. This is a carbon fiber bar made by Synchros. Synchros is their sister company to Scott. So this is like Revolve to Specialized, Bontrager to Trek. Synchros makes all the components for Scott to deck it out with. On here as well, you do get the proprietary stem that works with this Scott Addict. This is a Synchro stem. It is alloy, it is kind of chunky, but like I mentioned before, you can swap this out for a one-piece bar and stem made by them as well. You do have the option to run a proprietary mount that goes in front of this stem cap right here, so you can run your Garmin, your Wahoo, whatever you want to do, a hammerhead on here, you can run that as well. One thing with Scott that they are different from every other bike is that they do run T25 for their bolts. So this tool is a T25. It is not a normal 4mm Allen key, but this follows suit throughout the whole bike, so that way if you do need a T25 or a tool to work on your bike, I recommend picking one of these up at a bike store, a hardware store, or wherever. The bike does give you one to include, but just in case you forget one, I'll show you where one's located. The handlebar tape on here is going to be their own synchronous tape. And then on here, like I mentioned, you have the SRAM Force Grupo. This is Axis. It's completely wireless except for the hydraulic brake lines on here. You do have a carbon fiber brake line, 12 gears in the rear, 2 in the front. They work with the Axis app to change the gearing, to change if you want to pair a difference on here. I know Force just did have an upgrade for their shifting or for their group set where they made their hoods a little bit more ergonomic. But in terms of functionality on the group, nothing changed. The way shift speeds are very similar. The group set itself, the derailleur, they just did a lot of recoloring and rebranding and revamping. The hood change was the actual biggest ergonomic change to it. They made these much smaller and very similar to the rival. You can always, let's say you want to get that in the future, you can always swap these shifters out even though there's nothing wrong with them. And also the chain rings as well. People mention the chain rings are a newer look, and those chain rings are compatible with this Force crank as well. So you do have that option too. But in terms of that, it's exactly the same. It works really, really well. The Force group set's been around for a long time. It's been stapled, it's been true, tried. It works very, very well, so it has a nice touch. Going down to the front, we have a Scott logo right here in the front. Nice, I mean, this is one of my favorite colors. I don't know if you guys, how long you guys been in this channel, but you guys know I love a nice burgundy or wine red. Scott nailed it with this paint job. It looks very, very, very pro. It looks very quality. I like it a lot. They even had the chrome decals as well. This would be a paint job I would love. For the wheel set on here, you do have a Scott Synchros Capital 1.0 wheel set. This is again their own wheel set. With the Addict, you do get a 35mm depth wheel. This is the same for the front and the rear. So this is like their climbing bike with aero qualities. So they put a mid-tier dish wheel on here. They are set up tubeless ready. You can run tubes, but the only thing are that these tires are not tubeless ready, and you would have to change out put in the valves and put on different tires as well. So these are a Schwabel 1 tire. They are a 700 by 28C tire, nice and wide, but they are a tube only tire, so I would change those out if you guys got a chance. You do have a through axle on here in the front, and the hub is going to be their Synchros own hub. Not the biggest fan of the wheels of the hub itself, but you know, you're getting a nice carbon fiber wheel on here that's going to work really, really well. For these bikes, I believe they can take up to a 32cm tire on here as well, if you guys are wondering. So I can go about that width on there as well. For the brake on here, you have a SRAM Force brake caliper, 160mm SRAM Force brake caliper on here with a Shimano center lock ring. Go figure. You do have a through axle right here that you're going to remove with a 5mm through axle. On Scott, I love the way they do this. They have this little magnetic cover to cover up their bolt heads right here so that you can adjust the brakes. Always a big fan of that. I think it looks very sleek, very innovative. It just looks better than having these mounting bolts in the back. I mean, the bikes are 2023. This is the future. Come on, guys. On here, you can see we have the tube only. Scott is forever and also known for having a PF86 bottom bracket. These are a press fit bottom bracket on here. No threaded needed here. I think all these bike manufacturers, like I said before, they have been listening to consumers. They have been listening to YouTubers. They have been listening to everyone, and they've gotten much better tolerances on making a circle and a bike. And I, even myself, have experienced less creaking or consumers' bikes creaking when coming back with a PF86. So I think they're doing a much better job at making these things a little bit better. So kudos to them because they're doing really well. And there really is no need for a threaded bottom bracket if the PF86 is working. It's been on bikes for a while. The BB30 has been around for a while. It's much closer to the bike. It's going to be a stiffer system. It works really, really well. For here, the water bottle bolts on here are a T25. This is, again, that's the second time that I mentioned that they have a T25 in here. So if you ever needed to put on your own water bottle cages or these come loose during the ride, you do need a T25 tool in here. They do say Synchros. That's pretty cool. But like I mentioned before, that is a T25. We are not going to talk about what happened right there. This is a SRAM Force crankset on here with a carbon fiber crank arm, 172.5 crank arm with their own Quark power meter on here. This bike is fitted with a power meter that is very nice for consumers. It does come with a 4835 tooth chainring as well. That is a very common chainring size, kind of like a mid-compact for a normal bike rider. You do also get a SRAM Force flat top chain, and also the rear is a SRAM Force cassette, a 1033. People wanted to know, is the new Force stuff compatible with the old Force stuff? Yes. It is all interchangeable. The chain is exactly the same. Cassette's exactly the same. If you wanted to change it out, you could. You do have the option. The bottom bracket inside the bike is going to be a SRAM Dub PF86. You do have a SRAM Force front derailleur on here as well with its own lithium battery that is detachable, that you can actually swap out from this battery to that battery. So if you do ever forget to be a numbskull and charge your batteries and you get onto the road and you have any kind of issues where maybe, hey, little old me, dumb self, forgot to charge my batteries, I can swap out my front derailleur with my back derailleur, so that way I'm able to go ahead and finish my ride and get dropped anyways at the end of the ride and not feel like such a fool because my batteries died. You know, or if you do want the excuse that you, because you got dropped, you can go ahead and just say, hey, I got dropped because my batteries didn't work, and blame it on that, even though the guy was much stronger than you and much better looking than you. That's what my voice said anyways. We have here, again, the exact same wheel as the front, Capital 1.0 Synchros 35mm depth wheel with their own bladed spokes and Synchros hub, which you guys will get a free by sound test at the end of the video. For the rear disc brake on here, it is a 160mm rotor. SRAM is always known for doing a 160 front, 160 rear, whereas Shimano is more of a 160 front, 140 rear. You can always put on 140s if you want to by removing that adapter right there, shedding some weight and losing some brake power as well. Remember how I guys told you that these bikes do come with a T25 tool? Well, it is right here. This little piece right here, this is interchangeable from the rear and also to the front through axle. So if you guys do ever forget your tool set while riding your bike, you're able to remove this tool to go ahead and remove your through axles. What's really neat is on the end of this tool, it is a T25 head. So this can actually tighten down your handlebar, tighten down your stem, tighten down whatever you need to do on here. And this will actually, let's say you get into a crash or whatever, and God forbid you're okay, but your handlebars turn or something gets loose on there, you're able to adjust everything you need to on the bike for that cockpit area, which is very nice. And I do like the idea of that innovation at work. We do have the lower seat stays as well. We have the little Scott logo right here. We have this little mud gray in the back. It looks beautiful. Tires are exactly the same, 700 by 28C tires for the top tube area. Scott is known for this. If the bike is gloss, it will be matte on top. If the bike is matte, it'll be gloss on top. They do this kind of two-tone color to set differences. We have the bike model name here, Addict. We have the 10 right here to let you guys know it's a Model 10. And we have the RC logo right here with the kind of gloss shilling on there. We have a proprietary seat mount seat post wedge right here. This is a 3mm Allen key that's going to tighten up against the seat post where we have this kind of friction area. We have a D-shaped seat post by Scott Synchros or Synchros brand. It is carbon fiber. It is flat in the back, D in the front. That way it makes it more aerodynamic. For the saddle on here, we have this beautiful tan Synchros Bell Cara saddle with a titanium rails. And yeah, it is super windy out here, as you guys have seen. It's crazy. I feel like I'm in a wind tunnel right now. Keeps on throwing his bike around. Let's see if it falls over. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I really do think this is a very strong bike for anyone looking at that $6,000 to $8,000 price point. You're getting a great company with backing of warranty. You're getting a lot of really high-end components on here with a power meter, carbon fiber wheels. You're getting a fully integrated carbon fiber bar with a cockpit on here. And you're getting a tried and true race geometry. I mean, the bikes are very good looking. I do wish that these were a little bit less bulky right here and chunky, but that's neither here nor there. And the color is absolutely gorgeous. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Here comes a free buy sound test on these Capital 1.0 and a 35mm depth wheel with Synchros' own hub. Here we go. A little bit of disc brake rub ain't hurting no one. Yeah. Alright guys, that's going to do this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.